welcome back to Yarn Church. This is a podcast where I talk about my yarny adventures, and hopefully you can kind of enjoy going on the journey with me. Today I am wearing I don't know whether to call it a necklace or a cowl. I was kind of intending for it to be a loose cowl, but I just kind of freehanded this. This is knit out of my popcorn jumbo boucle that I made in my class with Charan Sakar at Red Alder. He taught a class on just this yarn, how to make it, and I wanted to make something out of it. Basically what I did was, it's almost like an assigned pooling, but it's more like assigned textures, where I more or less knit or purled every stitch, except when I got to a really big bump, I slipped the stitch so that the bump could stand out towards the front. This is a technique that Charan talks about, I think, on his channel, and he definitely talked about it in this class. And it works really well, I imagine, for yarns that are intermittently textured. This yarn is textured all the way through, and it has just big bubbles and chunks throughout it. I think some people are saying oh, this is more like the yarn is the art versus putting it in a project, but I did want to challenge myself and make something out of it. It's a necklace that's very bold, and I like that I'm able to kind of display the art yarn I made. We started out with a white yarn, or white wool, just to kind of get comfortable with making thick and thin. And then kind of on the same bobbin, we spun different colors, and he encouraged us to kind of play with what colors we held together and things like that. And I just had a ton of fun making this yarn. It was less fun to knit with, I have to say. So I do want to make more of this and experiment with it a little bit more, maybe doing some thin sections and then some more thick sections, so that more of the yarn is like a regular knitting yarn, and then having some intermittent sections of the popcorn boucle where I can let those pop through as kind of an intermittent texture in a project. I think that's probably what I would do differently next time. And that sort of exploration is something that he really encouraged in this class as well. So I will take that with me and go into a new project. So I have I have one other finished object, which I finished this a while ago and I didn't really post about it, but I saw this. I wanted to wear kind of a plain black sort of look today for the things I'm doing. And then I just wanted to add a little bit of a pop of color. I saw this hanging off of my mirror in my bedroom. I was like, okay, I have to wear this. Okay, so my finished object for today is my DRK Everyday Socks. I'm wearing them today. I've been wearing them a lot because you can see they're very bright and sunny. I'll put a little picture up here for you so that you get to get a closer look at them, not on my feet. I just couldn't wait to wear them, so I didn't wait until after the podcast to wear them. So yeah, I did take a picture of them though, so there it is. So these are the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry, and I do knit this pattern. I think this is the third or fourth pair of socks I've knit from that pattern, and I used my Freckled Whimsy subscription from February of this year to knit them. That colorway was called Keep Calm and Leprechaun, very clearly kind of meant for St. Patrick's Day, but I knit them a little bit late throughout March and into a little bit of April. But yeah, love how those turned out. I got my next Freckled Whimsy Subscription. I love this skein and mini skein. This is called I Believe in Mermaids, and this is the April subscription. Beautiful. Really, you know, I haven't decided what pattern I'm going to use to knit those. So I'm kind of procrastinating casting on. I'm thinking about doing a pattern from a book that I got in February for my birthday. I think it's called Knit Socks Every Which Way or something like that. I'll put a cover here and with the actual title and author accreditation. But the socks, they have some socks that are just like non-traditional, not the usual sock construction, where instead of your typical sock construction, some of them are knit sideways, some of them are knit like, the one I'm thinking of has kind of like these shell like or fans in it. And I think that I actually feel like the shells or fans would look really good with this kind of mermaidy color scheme. Another finished object I have, I know I'm going way out of order here, whatever. Another finished object I have is from my my spinning. This is from my sheep to shawl team. We each got about an ounce of this Romney fleece that was carded into bats to spin like a little mini skein. I think this is about a worsted weight. We were supposed to spin about a worsted weight. This is from a ram. A ram named Otto. This is Otto. And this was from a flock that they had purchased a fleece from this flock a while ago, or I guess last year, and they really enjoyed the wool from it. And so they bought several fleeces from the same flock this year. And yeah, this was really a delight to spin. It had very little, VM in it. Yeah, it was really good to spin. I only had to like pick out a couple of little neps out of the bat. And you'll see, like, I tied this up mostly with itself, like with the yarn that I spun, but you see some like pink sock yarn here. We each have kind of our own color code for kind of marking the skeins or the samples that we're spinning during the team practices. And because I wore those bright pink socks to the antique spinning wheel showcase, a lot of people in my guild associate me with bright pink now, which is funny because I never wear bright pink except in those socks. And that's actually why I wore those socks. Or that's why the bright pink was in socks, is because that's pretty much the only place that I wear such bright colors is in my socks. And so it's just funny that people associate me with the super bright pink, because I'm not really a bright pink person, but I do have bright pink socks. I like it as a color. I just don't wear it on my upper body very much. But yeah, this is a nice yarn. I think I did okay with it. It's fairly, other than the fact that a couple of my own hairs made it in there. Yeah, it's fairly even. It looks like it more or less matches the grist I was going for the team. This is a little bit thicker, or quite a bit thicker than my my default, so it wasn't something that I could just kind of zone out and spin. I had to actually pay attention and check my plyback sample a few times. But in terms of zone out spinning, I do have a zone out spin. I have a little update on my sweater spin. So officially, I now have completed 3 full bobbins for the main color of my Pressed Flowers cardigan. I feel like I'm getting towards the end of the fleece, or the braid. I have, I think 2 or 3 more bobbins. I think I'm at least halfway through the spinning. Yeah, 2 or 3 more bobbins, and I will be through all the fiber. I will have probably more than enough to make this this sweater with at least the main color of the sweater after this. But I do intend to count my yardage as I wind it off, and we'll see. But I'm probably another month or two out from actually finishing that sweater spin, the singles for that sweater spin, because then when I'm done with all the singles, I'm going to ply. And the reason I could be taking those singles and making skeins already, because I have 3. I could have already plied 2 of these together and made the first couple of skeins. The reason I haven't is typically when you're doing a long-term spin, like a sweater spin or a blanket spin, I guess, or even like a large shawl spin, it's better to spin all of your singles and then kind of take a bobbin from the beginning and a bobbin from the end of the project and ply those together, and then kind of work your way towards the middle, because your spinning can change over time and it makes it a little bit more consistent to take one from the beginning, one from the end, apply together. It's the same reason normally for the sheep to shawl, we instead of doing like one person making 2 bobbins and plying them together, they'll take a bobbin from 2 different spinners and ply those together. Even when we're not in competition, even when we have all the time in the world and we're taking bobbins home to ply, usually we're kind of trading bobbins around and not plying our own, or we'll ply our own with the friends, so that yeah, we have more consistency within the team or within the group. So my next one is a project that I started unintentionally. I started this project because I've been combing a fleece. The fleece is the sheep's name is Hilda. I bought the fleece from Hilda of Hilda. I bought Hilda's fleece in June, at the end of June last year at Black Sheep Gathering, and I would really like to finish combing this fleece by the time Black Sheep Gathering comes again this year. And I've just been casually combing it pretty much just on the weekends and sometimes in the morning before work. If I'm anxious before work, it's a pretty relaxing thing to go comb through that fleece. And so I've been combing through the fleece. When you're combing wool, it produces a lot of waste. And what I mean by waste is not all of the wool that you put on the combs gets taken off into the combed top that you're making. Every pass of the combs, some of the fiber doesn't make it, and it just remains on the comb. And so it's not that it's bad wool, it's just it didn't come off when you combed it out. And so some of that is shortcuts, or I guess second cuts. Some of it is full of VM, some of it is just good wool that's just not as long as the other wool that was in that lock. And that third category is what I'm trying to pick out of that combing waste. And so I'm taking the combing waste off of the comb that's left, and I'm kind of picking through, like, to get the dirty pieces. Like if there's a little bit of dander in this fleece, and I am trying to take all of that out. I'm trying to pick out pieces of grass. If there's shortcuts, I'm taking those out. And then I'm taking the kind of the shorter pieces of wool that are still spinnable, but just not as long as what I want in the comb top, and kind of putting them in a pile. I don't have my little bag of wool. I put them in a pile. When I get a little pile going, I shove them down into this paper sack. Like, it's actually just a little lunch sack. And whenever I get a little bit going in the lunch sack, I take it out, I guess, as I feel like it, really. I take it out and I card it on hand cards. And actually I have my hand cards like sitting here. They're a little bit, they still have some of the wool from the last carding adventure I went through last night. And I make rollags out of it. And this is what a rollag looks like. It's like a little kind of cigar of wool. Okay, I guess I'm not monetized, so so I don't have to worry about getting demonetized. But yeah, I'm carding the wool, and I'm making a rollag. And this is just a really airy preparation, and I'm taking that and I am spinning it on a drop spindle. This drop spindle, oh man, now I have to remember where I bought this. I bought this drop spindle at Flock Fiber Festival last year, and from a small woodworker, and I really like this. I like this about as well as I like my my Jenkins spindles. I love that it has little rainbows, little little rainbows there. They have different different types of wood inlaid in these, and I just was really attracted to the rainbow ones. Very like, I'm thinking like very pride, and I bought some rainbow braids at the time because I thought they would look good spun onto those. I have not spun them yet, but anyway, I've been spinning using this, and this is actually the second ball of this yarn that I'm making. This is the first, so I finished one ball of yarn, or I filled the spindle once, and now I'm filling the spindle the second time. Anyway, yeah. So, and then that's that. So lots of spinning stuff going on, and I think that that doesn't quite cover it. Actually, I have one more. Hold on. This is my other spindle spinning whip. So this is a whip that I think I might have talked about this last time. I actually don't remember if I did, but forgive me if I'm repeating myself. So I bought this in October of last year at Oregon Flock and Fiber. I bought the fiber at Oregon Flock and Fiber, and I bought the spindle from Wanda Jenkins at the at my Spinning Guild's fall workshops. I took a class from, I think I did talk about this in my last podcast. Anyway, I'm still working on this. Again, working very casually on this too. Not something I'm trying to get done quickly. If I was trying to get through this fiber quickly, I would not be spinning it on a drop spindle. I would be spinning it quickly on my wheel. I'm a pretty fast spindle spinner, but I am much faster on my wheel than on a spindle. And especially this spindle is getting really slow because there's quite a bit of fiber already on it. At this point, I'm kind of trying to see how far I can make this go. This is, and I talked about the strategy with spinning all of the singles for a large project and then plying them later on. This is like the extreme opposite end of that spectrum. This is being chain plied. So what I'm doing, and I'm spinning a little bit of single right now, so just so that I can show you. So what I do is I spin the single, and then once I have a length of single that is spun, I kind of butterfly it over my finger here, and I ply it with itself immediately. So I have got like a little loop here on the end. And now this is my plied yarn with a loop on the end. So then I take the yarn, the single, you gotta keep your half hitch on. And of course I'm gonna struggle with this because I'm in a podcast situation. So I just put this in my lap, and you put the single through the loop, and I just kind of open and close my fingers and pull it through, and then I kind of hang it off of my pinky. So now I've got 3 strands here. I've got the loop, and then I've got the strand, and then I spin this spindle. Oh, it looks like I've got a little bit of a pigtail in there. Maybe we can get that out. It might just be there. And then I spin the spindle in the opposite direction that I spun the single, and that puts in the ply twist. And the good thing about this is you can kind of see when it gets balanced because it's fresh single. So now I know I have a perfectly balanced 3-ply, although it does end up a little bit less even than it would be if I did all 3 singles and then plied those 3 singles together. So the inconsistency in the single is not averaged out as much, because if your single is drifting over time to be thicker or thinner, your final yarn will also drift, because you're not balancing. I guess you're balancing it. You're just not averaging it out over time by taking your singles from February and plying them with your singles from October, like you would with like a sweater spin. And anyway, this is just, this project is spinning just to spin. So, I mean, I would like to make something with this one day, but I also have no project in mind. And I do a lot of like I've mentioned before, a lot of my spinning is spinning just to spin. And I would say that this project is very much along those lines too. It's just kind of have wool, I guess I'm going to spin something now. So the last object I want to talk about is my petal wrap tee. So I've made a lot of progress since the last time you saw this. I finished the skein I was on. Oh, there's so much cat hair in this thing. I finished the skein I was on and started a new skein, and I sewed in most of the ends that I had. So this is inside out, but this is how far down we are. We're really getting there. I think I have like maybe 3 or 4 more inches, and I'll be able to start the ribbing down here. Although my plan is, when I'm done with this current skein, I will actually take a break. I like to vacation on Sleeve Island. So this is just all stockinette in the round, and I get quite bored when I'm just knitting stockinette in the round, and especially on such a large circumference. It's nice to just even though this is also going to be stockinette in the round, it is nice to take a little bit of a break on something that's a smaller circumference, so that it feels more, you feel more like you're making progress. So that's the plan on this, and I'll show you, find my marker. So I put the marker on the right side, but this is where I was last time we spoke. So I've knit probably 4 or 5 inches since the last time I filmed a podcast, and I'm just going to move this up to where I am now. In fact, I think I'm going to be smart about this time and put it on the right side of my knitting, right underneath where the needles are splitting. So where is this? Okay. All right. So now I'm ready to keep track of this for the next time. And the reason so I had just joined this new skein of yarn on here. And the reason I had planned when I ran out of the last skein to go ahead and go to the sleeves. But what I realized is I actually don't have more US 2.5s. So I ended up yesterday going to Starlight Knitting Society and buying a couple more US 2.5 Chalgu tips and a couple extra cords as well. So now I'll be able to always switch to sleeves, vacation on Sleeve Island, no matter what. So I bought a US 2.5 for my 4-inch set and a US 2.5 for my 5-inch set. So now I have kind of a full collection of US 2.5s, because what I'm knitting this on is, I think, 32-inch circulars, and I will and I'll be and I have and now I've got the 2 tips for my 2 Chalgu sets. And I do knit a lot on US 2.5. This is, I think, the third sweater I've knit on US 2.5 needles, which is probably why you don't see me having a ton of finished objects here, is I keep knitting sweaters on tiny needles and they take forever. So yeah, let's see what else is going on. So if you were just here for the knitting and spinning, that part's done. And now some of the things that are going on is my boyfriend and I are planning on moving in together later this summer. It's not, no one's in a rush. I think my lease ends on this apartment in August, and I have a big vacation planned in Italy in September. I'm leaving for Italy on September 4th, and so I want to move before September because I don't want to have that up in the air when I'm taking that vacation. And I actually think that my lease ends in August anyway. So I think July or August, I'll probably really move in earnest. So far, the only thing I've moved is my yarn. So almost my entire yarn stash is at his house already. So my boyfriend and I have been dating for 6 years, and we're only just now moving in together because his son lives, he's a father, and his son lives pretty far away from where I work. And the house that he lives in now is kind of in between, well, it's actually fairly close to his son's school, and it's in a part of Portland that is, it's very desirable and very walkable, and I love living in a walkable area. So even though it's going to be kind of a nasty commute for me, it is going to be, to me, it's worth it to live in such a walkable area. And like, he's not a very friendly person. I don't say that as like a mean thing. He's a friendly, nice person to talk to, but he's not really outgoing, and he doesn't go like intentionally run into people or anything like that. But he has, he actually knows several of his neighbors already just because it's such a friendly area. And I am outgoing, and I do really like, since I grew up in a small town, I actually really like being in a place where I see people and kind of see the same people over and over again, get to know people, and that neighborhood's pretty close knit. His stepdad and his mother, when she was alive, they lived, his stepdad still does live a couple blocks away in the same neighborhood. And when we went to his mother's celebration of life, they had kind of a street party for the celebration of life. And I'd say about half of the people attending were just their neighbors. That's such a close-knit neighborhood. And I am just really like looking forward to being in that kind of community. It's really important to me to have that sort of community around me. And it's not that close to Starlight Knitting Society, but Starlight Knitting Society will be my local yarn shop. And that's actually why I went to Starlight yesterday, is because I was kind of hanging out with Ryan, and I realized like, oh, I need some more of those US 2.5 knitting needles. I'm just gonna jaunt over 10 minutes away to Starlight and grab them and then come back. So I got a little taste for how convenient it is going to be to have such a nice, posh, I will say, yarn shop so close by. And what else? Man, no, we had a really nice, nice night last night. I basically, we're both homebodies. Ryan has his own hobbies, and actually he was doing his taxes, so he wasn't doing a hobby, but he was sitting on the couch doing his taxes at the last minute, and I was sitting next to him with my Petal wrap tee, just knitting away and watching some knitting podcasts on YouTube. And we went to dinner at a local bar, and again, like, we had dinner at that local bar, and the person's waiting on us has waited on us the last 2 times we went there, and she remembered us, and she always, well, Ryan said, well, this is the first time we've been here she hasn't complimented your sweater, which the last time we were there, I was wearing my Audrey top, and we walked in and she was like, oh, I love your vest. And then last night I came in with my book club cardigan, and didn't get a compliment on it there. It's okay though, because Starlight Knitting Society, the people at Starlight Knitting Society fawned over it. So I already had my fill of attention for the day on the knitwear. But yeah, no, it's been a good weekend. In a little bit, I'm going to be leaving here. Hopefully I'll probably call my mom and talk to her for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm just looking over at my clock to see, and then I'll be headed over to my sheep to shawl practice down in Canby. A little bit of a drive. I pick up one of my fellow team members. She also lives in Hillsborough. I go pick her up and then we drive down together. It's a little bit of a drive, maybe 45-minute drive. So it's nice to have someone riding along and sharing the ride. It makes the trip go a lot faster. All right, well, I hope you all have a good week. Let me know in the comments what you're working on. Did you like the video? Something that, well, actually, you know what, I'm going to back up a little bit. One of the things I've been wanting to do, and my mom really likes the instructional sort of videos, and I asked at the end of my last video, but I know that not very many people watched that last video, but one of the things that I've really wanted to do is do more kind of informative things. Some ideas I had were maybe doing kind of different cast-ons and bind-offs. I've wanted to do a study like this for myself, but I realized that a lot of people kind of get in a rut on cast-on bind-off, and I thought it might be fun to do kind of a cast-on bind-off study. Let me know how you feel about that, or even like if there's anything that you kind of wanted to know more about and you'd like to hear it from me, or things that you think that I might be good at explaining. Let me know. And if you like that, if you like them during the podcast, like I think I've done a couple episodes where I've kind of inserted an instructional thing inside kind of a podcast episode, or if you prefer them to kind of be standalone. I'm really interested in hearing kind of what you all think. And also, like, part of the reason I have this channel is for the interactions. I like talking to people and getting to know other people with my in my hobbies, and sometimes it can feel like you're talking into the void, and I get so excited when I get your comments and interactions. So feel free to comment below, drop anything. Like I'm really interested again in kind of what you like, what sort of content you'd like to see here going forward, and but also what you're working on. So I hope you all have a great week filled with all the things you love to do. Have a good one. Bye.